Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Wynna Wong. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Local primary school students welcome the resumption of in-person classes, although they have to test for COVID every day. A jobless man is jailed for 14.5 years for biting off the ear of a former district councillor. And Russia launches its offensive against the Donbas region in eastern Ukraine. Local and international primary schools have reopened for in-person classes for the first time since January. The local schools are running half-day sessions, while international schools have full day of classes. But all students will have to test negative for COVID before setting off for school. Johanna Chan reports.
Carrying their bags, primary school students drifted back to school as Hong Kong's earliest summer holiday drew to an end. But they must be tested for COVID every day before leaving home. At the Tsuen Wan Trade Association Primary School, many students said they missed their classmates and teachers. I haven't seen them in a long time. I was so bored, this child said. This boy said he contracted COVID last month, so he wasn't afraid. I'm preparing to enter secondary school, so I have to study hard, this girl said. She added she will remember to test herself every day, as it will become as much a habit as carrying her textbooks to school. 2 students who forgot to take the test at home were taken aside in school and tested. I didn't know we needed testing. The teacher probably notified us, but I wasn't aware, this boy said. He added he will have to wake up half an hour earlier tomorrow morning at around 5:30 to prepare. School principal Chow Kim Ho said 8 students were unable to show negative test results with their parents' signature as confirmation. He said the school trusts parents, adding they would only retest students if necessary. Parents have said they were afraid of running out of test kits quickly, but Chow reassured them that the school will help. Secondary schools and 1/3 of kindergartens will resume in-person lessons on May 3rd. Johanna Chan, HKIBC.
New COVID cases and virus-related deaths in Hong Kong have continued to decline. 14 students were found to be infected when they undertook rapid antigen tests at home this morning. Maisie Mock reports.
New COVID cases in Hong Kong have continued their downward spiral, dropping to 600 today as daily infections were below 1,000 for the 5th day. 11 of the additional cases were imported. 17 COVID-related deaths were recorded today, the lowest in nearly 2 months. On the first day of the resumption of face-to-face lessons, 2 students from 2 local schools and 12 students from an international school were found to be positive through rapid antigen tests at home. Center for Health Protection Controller Edwin Choi did not rule out that the 12 international school students had met each other during the Easter break. Meanwhile, people who are cured of COVID can obtain a recovery record QR code by inputting their information on a government website or downloading it from 2 other government apps. The QR code can be installed on the Leave Home Safe app for use as a vaccine pass, which venue operators can check. The code is only effective for 6 months after recovery and will turn from blue to red when it has expired. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
Shanghai has reported COVID-related deaths for the 2nd day in a row. 7 unvaccinated people who suffered from various chronic illnesses were the latest fatalities, taking the city's toll in the current outbreak to 10. New COVID cases in the financial hub yesterday dropped to 20,400, around 3,000 of which were symptomatic. Vice Mayor Wu Qing said over 37 million nucleic acid tests have been completed, and screenings will continue over the next few days. There are signs, meanwhile, that Beijing will stick to its dynamic zero-COVID policy. with state media publishing opinion pieces justifying the approach. Locally again, an unemployed man has been jailed for 14.5 years for biting off the ear of a former district councillor and assaulting 3 other people during an anti-government protest in 2019. The sentence was handed down 4 months after a high court jury convicted the defendant. Maisie Mock reports.
A correctional services vehicle took Joe Chan to the High Court this morning for sentencing. The jobless 52-year-old had been remanded in custody after being convicted in December last year of 3 counts of wounding with intent and 1 count of common assault. The case stemmed from a protest outside City Plaza in Quarry Bay in November 2019. Chan, who was armed with a knife, slashed a man who responded angrily to a slogan he had shouted. The defendant then stabbed the man's wife and assaulted her cousin. Former Eastern District Councillor Andrew Chu tried to stop the attack, but Chan grabbed his head and bit his left ear. In mitigation, the defense lawyer said Chan wanted to apologize to the 4 victims. Chan had been taking medication for depression caused by being unemployed. His wife and their daughter had been doxxed, and the victims had launched civil claims against Chan. High Court Judge Judiana Barnes denounced Chan's action as barbaric and unbelievable. She said Chu's left ear turned black after the attack and had to be removed. Although Chan claimed he had no political stance, Barnes said the attack was triggered by a political dispute between the defendant and 1 victim. The judge accepted that the attack was not premeditated and that Chan was under the influence of alcohol. Chan was jailed for 14.5 years, one of the stiffest sentences so far for convictions linked to the social unrest. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
A man and a woman have been sentenced to 2 months jail, suspended for 18 months for urging people to cast blank ballots in the Legislative Council elections. Kwun Tong Magistracy heard that between October and December last year, salesman Chan Kin Man and office assistants Alice Leung had shared former lawmaker Ted Hoi's post, in which he called on Hong Kongers to disrupt the polls. Chan and Leung pleaded guilty to incitement. They were also fined $1,000 each. Principal Magistrate Bina Chain Rai said, although casting blank ballots is not unlawful, the post was illegal as it urged both blank votes and asked people to express dissatisfaction with the government. The government plans to implement the waste disposal charge in the second half of next year. But initially, rubbish bags will be distributed free before people are charged 11 cents per liter. The government also aims to set up a network of supermarkets, pharmacies, convenience stores, post offices, and online platforms where people can get the bags. Almost 3,000 outlets have expressed interest. Vending machines may also be set up at transport interchanges and ferry terminals. Overseas now, Russia has begun the long-feared Battle of Donbas, officially pushing the war in Ukraine into its second phase. Ukraine vowed to fight till the end to foil Moscow's plan to seize the eastern part of the country. With Russian forces on their doorstep, the people of Donetsk in eastern Ukraine rushed to evacuate their most vulnerable. At this hospice in the city of Chasiv Yar, volunteers loaded residents onto a coach for their journey to safety. Some of them are living out their final days or weeks, said the head of the care home. Many have difficulty moving. Ukrainian troops, meanwhile, prepare to face the enemy in Donbas. The Russian-speaking industrial region is where Moscow-backed separatists have been fighting Ukrainian forces for the past 8 years. The Kremlin pivoted to concentrating its forces here after failing to take over capital Kyiv. In an address to his compatriots, President Volodymyr Zelensky declared that Ukrainians will fight, no matter how many Russian troops are deployed. There's ample damage all across the country. In the second largest city, Kharkiv, People mourning for dead loved ones has become an all too familiar scene. Fighting also continued in besieged Mariupol. The southeastern port city has been a target of Russian troops since the war began due to its key position next to the Black Sea. The Hang Seng Index lost 2.3% as trading resumed after the Easter break, with investors unmoved by Beijing's pledge to continue supporting the economy. The tech sector took a hit, with video platform Bilibili plunging 11% after China banned the live streaming of unauthorized video games. Meituan retreated 6% after market regulators warned food delivery firms against overcharging during Shanghai's COVID outbreak. China Merchants Bank was down 11.5% after dropping its most senior executive. A look at the markets now. The Hang Seng Index was down 490 points. Top 10 active stocks, the Tencent fell $10.40. CM Bank down $6.85. Tracker Fund down 50 cents. AIA was down $1.80. JD was down $4.20. Over to foreign exchange rates, it was 8.47 to the euro, 10.21 to the British pound. In foreign markets, the UK FTSE is down 30 points. An alligator in the U.S. state of Florida apparently lost its way after straying away from home. Fortunately, the animal encountered no one apart from some sheriff's deputies who followed the lumbering giant from the safety of their car. The 3-meter-long creature made several stops as it tried to find a lake in the city of Venice. After several hours, the alligator finally made it, ending a tense time for the officers escorting it. On to the weather now. It will be mainly cloudy with 1 or 2 showers. Temperatures will range between 19 and 23 degrees. Similar conditions on Thursday and Friday. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. And that's our main news for Tuesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Wynna Wong. Good night.